Hello, everyone. This is Renee Hahn with William Ravis Real Estate, bringing you the monthly Naples Market Real Estate Report. I'm excited to be here with you today, coming from paradise, and I do mean paradise. I love living in Naples, and if you haven't had the opportunity to visit, you're going to want to. Just a couple of administrative things to get us started. One, I want to encourage you to visit my website, yournaplesexpert.com, because below where I have this video posted, I have got a great amount of information on the market update page with interactive real-time graphs, luxury reports, information that goes deeper than these high-level videos do. So I really want to encourage you. You may go out there at any time. You don't have to wait for my monthly prompting to do so, but it is a very valuable resource. Whether you're in the market to buy or sell or not, or you just want to get a feel for what's going on in the real estate marketplace, it's a great resource to you. The second thing I want to point out that I point out every month when I release these, we are talking about data that's a month delayed. So the data we're going to talk about is for the month of February. The reason there's that almost 1 month gap is because Naples Area Board of Realtors wants to make sure that all of the data is buttoned up, accurate, that all closings that have happened during the month of February have time to get logged into the system by the listing agents, and that we are bringing you the most accurate and up-to-date information. So we are going to be talking about February. Let's dive right in. I don't know about you, but not a day goes by that I'm not turning on the news or seeing an article pop up in my morning administrative work talking about what's going on in the economy, whether it's what's going on with the banks or interest rates or inflation or any number of other factors that can have a direct or indirect impact on the real estate market. The part that gets a little frustrating for me sitting here in Naples is we always talk about things at a macro level. And so absolutely those things that are becoming challenges in the US and in some cases the world have a direct impact on real estate. But here's what frustrates me. They'll make the media will make broad-based statements about the sky is falling. It reminds me of this book I remember where I can't remember if it's a rooster or a chicken runs around and keeps thinking the hen that the sky is falling. Yes, there are challenges that will affect the real estate market, but depending on where you live, you're going to find that those impacts are different. So I always tell people, yes, in Naples, we can't avoid following some of the national trends. So we will have ebbs and flows in our real estate market, but don't assume when you see something broadcast in another state or across the nation that that is indicative of what is going on in Naples. Oftentimes, there's a disconnect. And what happens is, particularly with buyers who are sitting outside the market listening to these reports, then they think the real estate market is here when actually it's over here, and the divide gets to be greater between the buyer and seller and being able to make things come together. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but I just want to remind you that every real estate market behaves differently. They're not all the same. And candidly, there are a lot of things that insulate our Naples real estate market, which makes it an attractive place to own real estate. So just keep that in mind. Now, certainly, I have seen a slowing in traffic for showings. There is no question, if I look back over the previous even 5 years, this has probably been one of the slower showing seasons that I've seen, both in my own experience working with buyers, because I do spend time with both buyers and on the listing side. I'm also seeing it with listings, and I'm hearing about it every day from agents. But here's the thing. We are still really low in inventory, respectively. Now, again, there are pockets that behave differently, even within our Naples market. So yes, traffic is lighter. So things are taking a little bit longer to sell. But candidly, there's been some insulation in pricing simply because although demand might be slightly lower at a Naples level, so is inventory at a Naples level. So there are people in the market looking who aren't seeing yet what they're looking for because particularly in some communities, the inventory can be very light. So one of the things that NABORD measures is showing traffic. Now, It's usually a sliver because not everything runs through the systems for the most part, but it's a good indication. And so showings decreased 15% in February. We had a total of 36,574 showings that got scheduled through the system versus in February of 2022, we were at 43,032 showings. So again, lighter traffic, no question about it. Also, more and more people are sitting tight because there's a degree of uncertainty. We've talked about that surrounding interest rates, banking stability, heightened concern that they may encounter a recession. But keep in mind that unlike most of America, the majority of the home sales in Naples are cash sales. This will fluctuate from month to month. I've seen in the 70s for February, 62.1% of the deals were cash deals. So the financial market's uncertainty may benefit our housing market if high net worth families turn to real estate as more secure place to invest their wealth. So that again is a bit of what keeps us insulated from a appreciation and a value standpoint. Overall, though, I want to share a couple of data points. Remember, we're coming off of a year where there was just this skyrocketing and leapfrogging of prices. And so the market is going through a little right sizing. There are places in the market where pricing is giving a little bit more advantage to the buyers. Now, where you're going to see this is that there's a little bit more room for negotiation, because flip back to last year this time, things were selling a lot of times above list price. Now you might see a couple of percentage points that's coming off compared to what things are listed for. But in the first 2 months of the year, 2023, overall, Naples saw 3,085 price drops. Now, again, that doesn't mean that values are going down. It may be that people were still shooting high on their listings and it's right sizing. There have also been contract cancellation rates. So they went up in February, which tells me that, again, not only are buyers taking a little bit longer to make decisions and taking their time, but they're having higher expectations for properties. So if a seller is not willing to take ownership for defective items in their home, they may find higher cancellations. There were 588 homes in Naples that were previously under contract that came back on the market in the first 2 months. So just some high-level data points to get us grounded. Let's take a look at inventory. So although inventory in many areas is still light, buyers looking for homes in Naples during February were certainly met with what I would say more choices compared to more recent times. So inventory increased 131.4% year over year. So in February of 2023, we had 2,835 properties available for sale compared to February of 2002, where it was 1,225 properties. Now, keep in mind, as I mentioned already, Naples can behave very segmented in many of these metrics, including homes for sale, pricing, all of that, days on market. So for example, if you look at the number of listings at certain price points, for example, Collier Preserve is carrying more listings than what I've seen in a long time. And yet, if you go try to find a Gulf front condo that has a direct view of the beach and the Gulf, you're not going to find a lot. So again, we talk about things at a Naples level, but remember, there's variations by price point, by location, by community. And so one size and one statement does not fit all. If you look at the number of listings, so these are homes that have come on the market in the month of February, they are up 1% year over year. So if you, again, that's not a lot. We had 1,303 new listings hit the market in February. January it was a little bit higher, but not much, 1,338. In 2002, we had the month of February, 1,283. So again, not a lot of new listings this year coming on in February compared to February of the year before. Now, that was single family homes that I just talked about. If you look at condos, There were 100, or excuse me, my numbers are all screwed up today. It's been a really long day. 1,604 new listings in 2021, 1,309 new listings in February of 2022, and 1,324 in 2023. So the new number of new listings, although it is up from last year slightly, it is down from 2021, which is interesting. Now let's look at how many are going under contract. Now, I want to show this. I'm going to flip back to 2 slides because I want you to see numbers together. So 1,231 properties went under contract in the month of February. Now look at, I already told you 1,303 came new on the market, and you had 2,699 that were on the market. So 1,231, what this tells you is they are going under contract at a slower pace than they're coming on the market. So you're going to continue to probably see increases in number of listings over time. Now that's down 17% year over year. But it is up from January. If you look at January, we were sitting at 1,092 contracts, homes that went under contract, and we're up a little less than 200 month over month. If you have less traffic, which we've already talked about at the onset, and showings are light, then it's expected that you probably have a higher probability of the lower number of homes going under contract. So no surprise, there's a trickle effect here. Now let's look at closed. So you have to have them go under contract to have them closed. So when you're looking at closed sales in February, these homes probably went under contract either in December or January. Overall closed sales during February decreased 17.2%. So we had 682 closed sales in the month of February in 2023 versus 824 the same time last year. Closed sales year to date were highest in 2021. So let's break that down. In 2021, in the month of February, we had 1,096 single family homes go under contract and 1,369 condos go under contract versus 2022, that number was 848 single family homes went under contract and 815 condos. 2023, we came down even more where we had 645 single family homes and 597 condos. Those are both year to date. So I kind of deviated from the slide and I'm giving you year to date. But the point is the numbers were much higher in 2021. They came down in 2022 and they further came down in 2023 in terms of number of closed sales. Now let's look at days on market. I've already talked about the fact that the market's been slowing. People are taking longer to look. Some people have pushed the pause button on their home search, whether it's Naples or somewhere else, until they gain confidence in what's going on in the US. But we've stayed close to flat. So January, we were sitting at 54 days on market. Now compare that back to June when we were sitting at 18 days on market. So when you're talking about low numbers, 129% increase isn't hard to accomplish. It was 24 days the previous 2022 February. What has that meant in terms of pricing? You're going to see this number is flat from last month. Last month we reported that the median closed price was $600,000. This month it's $600,000. I think last month, I don't have it in front of me, but I think last month was 11% year over year. This month that same 600,000 is a 9% increase year over year. You can see it was high in June, came down a little, bumped up to 600 in November, went down in December, bumped up. It's been staying around the same general amount. I wanted to share that if you look at days on market back in 2021, by the way, it was 71 days. I forgot to mention that on the last slide and I didn't want to miss that. So pricing has stayed pretty stable. Now, you never know how much of this median price is a matter of mix versus actual appreciation, but I've tended to see the market stay somewhat stable on a macro level. You're seeing some price advantage happening, but I will tell you, if it is a home that is a home that people aren't going to feel like they need to do much for, I'm still seeing occasional multi-offers. So don't get comfortable seeing some of these statistics and saying, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to lowball, I'm going to whatever, because the reality is you may shoot yourself in the foot in getting the property you want and missing out. I recently had a client that wanted to start lower than I had originally suggested, which happens and it's fine and I support it completely. But while they were toying around with lower numbers, the property got snatched up for a much higher price. So you have to be careful with applying your own concepts to what you think is going on in the market, because pricing has still stayed pretty stable. Now, what I wanted to show you on this last slide, I've used this, I think the last 3 updates, I changed it from a bar graph so you can see sort of the fluidness. But what this graph is showing you is what percentage of the list price, original list price, so it takes into consideration any price decreases, what percentage of the list price are things selling for? You can see here, I did this starting in January of 2022. There were many months where you were on average getting 100% of list price. You can see it went up a little bit and then it's been coming down. So again, it's not coming down. You have to think of what the parameters are. The very bottom of the graph is 95% of original list price. So you can see here on the worst days, you're not even hitting a full 5% off the list price. So that's why I say, yes, it's getting more favorable, more reasonable. You have time to actually fly to town and see things. You have time to think about and digest what you want to do on an offer. But be careful about playing around, because if you love a house, there may be 1 or 2 other people that love it too, that are either going to be quicker to the dance than you, or maybe more willing to give an offer that's closer to list price. So you need to be careful unless you're prepared to walk away from or lose property. So I hope this is helpful. We hit the same metrics every month. I'm always here if you want to dive deeper into any one of them, or if you want to do a deep dive into your particular neighborhood. I do evaluations for people if it makes sense, if they're looking at making some life decisions about whether they're going to refinance, whether they're going to sell, sit on it, whatnot. I do that with my clients, I would say somewhat regularly. So don't hesitate to reach out. Again, Renee Hahn, William Ravis Real Estate. I can be reached at 239-287-2576. And if you or a loved one ever has a real estate need, or even an unloved one that I can help you with, don't hesitate to reach out. And don't forget to visit yournaplesexpert.com. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.